Welcome to the Mom Self-Care Podcast, your safe space to finally focus on YOU. I'm Twitty-Hawkins, your self-care coach for moms, praying wife, and mom of four. And I know that being a Christ-centered mom is such a beautiful calling, but it can be so draining. That's why it's important to make sure you are filling your own cup. On this podcast, we'll discuss practical, holistic self-care strategies to help nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Because a mama who fills her own cup pours that back into her family with true peace and joy. Tune in for honest conversations about motherhood and self-care because you matter too. Blessings, mamas, and welcome to the Mom Self-Care Podcast. I'm Twitty-Hawkins, your host and self-care coach for moms. And today I'm talking about choosing peace over perfection this Christmas and holiday season. I know that, just with motherhood, period, it comes with a lot of pressure to do things the right way. And sometimes we think we have to do things perfectly. So that creates a lot of pressure just in the normal day-to-day things. When it comes to Christmas and you're thinking about what you want to create for your family, what you want to buy, all those things, it can create so much pressure that really God does not want you holding. So today I want to share with you quickly some ways that you can make sure you get your pen, y'all. Make sure you get your pen. Y'all on YouTube, you see me. Get your pen, take notes, and put this up wherever you start to feel that pressure, that anxiety, that worry, so you can look at it and say, okay, Cherry said, I don't need to be worried about that. So make sure you do that. Get your pen and write it down. If you can't right now, make sure you save this episode, come back and listen again and take notes. And I just want to share with you a scripture reminder about peace. John 14:27 says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." And I think that's so important to remember because when we think about Christmas and the holidays period, like people were talking about Black Friday and how back in the day it used to be, people would wait in these long lines. People were fighting each other, doing all of this. That's how the world acts. We don't need to be acting like that, okay? I know, like I said, that pressure can come and you think maybe I need to do this, but if it's taking your peace, if it's causing anxiety and stress and worry, then maybe you need to think about, is this what I really need to be doing? And y'all, kind of just side note, I was in a marriage class the other day and he was talking about how he said being a perfectionist, and I can relate to this. I talk about perfectionism because I have to remind myself sometimes just because it's not perfect or just because it's not done your way, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. And he said, trying to be a perfectionist is one of the worst things that I did for my marriage. And so he had to learn how to overcome that. So that applies to your life, period. If you're trying to be perfect, the only perfect person that I know is Jesus. And so you're not Jesus. We are human, which means we're flawed, which means we're going to make mistakes. So just know that. Give yourself permission to say, hey, I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. And that's okay. It is okay. Your children need to see you. I've talked about this before. Your children need to see you make mistakes, and they need to see you overcome those mistakes and see you praying about it, taking it to God, working through the hard things so that they know how to and know that it's okay to do the same. So the first thing I want you to do, instead of, sometimes if things don't go our way, if the tree isn't perfect like we want it to be, or the cake or the cookies or whatever, if the experience doesn't go exactly the way we want, or I'll say I, because I've been told while I was getting coached to say I. So sometimes if things don't go the way that I want, I get so frustrated, y'all. Who can relate to what I'm talking about? I get so frustrated. I'm like, it's supposed to be like this. It was supposed to start like this. It was supposed to start on this time. It was supposed to go like this. We were supposed to do this. But then I have to tell myself, and I'm telling you guys to do the same thing. Instead of thinking, oh, this has to be perfect. How can this be purposeful? And something I learned from my husband, sometimes we have to just go with the flow. So saying, how can this be purposeful? So instead of me getting wrapped up in my attitude and things aren't the way I wanted them to go, I want my kids to have a good time. I want my husband to have a good time. I want to have a good time. So how am I going to let that go and then be purposeful in this moment? What do I want to achieve? If I want to achieve celebrating Jesus, if I want to achieve, enjoying the lights that we go and look at, if I want to achieve just a good memory, even though maybe the cookies burnt or something like that, that could be a good memory. Think about it. Some of your best memories may be something that got messed up and you guys just went with the flow and enjoyed it and had an amazing time anyway. So instead of that, trying to be perfect, Think about, how can I enjoy this moment, be present, and be purposeful? Ask yourself that. Next is to pause and think before you say yes to something. When somebody's asking you to do something, think about, I talked about in the past on the podcast about a lot of times we have priorities, but our actions don't align with those priorities. So if somebody's asking you something that's going to pull you away from the things that you say are your priorities that you have written down, and if you haven't, pause this episode and do it now. What are my priorities in this season? If somebody's asking you for something outside of that, then you need to pause, reflect, and then say, hey, maybe I need to say no. I need to say no at this time. It does not align with my priorities. So pause and say, let me reflect, let me review. And then if it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, be okay with that being a no. Be okay with setting that boundary. And like I've said before, take time to rest. I talked about this in an episode last month, but take time to rest when you're planning, when you're shopping, when you're doing all these things. Figure out what rest looks like for you and take time to do that, even if it's a few minutes, even if it's sitting in the car before you go in the house, if it's taking a nap. If it's, hey, after the kids open the Christmas gifts and we eat, we all have different traditions. Mama gonna go lay down because mama tired. Whatever that is for you, make sure you do that and pray and ask God to remind you. Sometimes we can get caught up in all the things. And then when we're frustrated and overwhelmed and start snapping at people, then we remember, oh my gosh, I did not take any time to rest. So pray, pray beforehand, pray during whatever it is that you're doing, that God will remind you, hey, Sherry, you need to take a break. Okay. Hey, Tasha, okay, you need to take a break. Hey, Amy, okay, you need to take a break. And that when that reminder is given, that you do it. Don't say, oh no, I still got stuff to do. God reminded you and you ain't listen. Y'all know we don't like that when we tell our kids to do something or not do something and they don't listen. We don't want to be like that. So like I said, I was going to keep this episode short and sweet, but I hope this blessed you. And like I said at the beginning, if you have not, get yourself a pen, come back and listen to this episode again and take notes. Write down, I think I gave 3 tips, somebody gave 4, but just realistic that you can do to really create more peace this holiday season instead of trying to be perfect. Because when you try to be perfect, you're going to miss the mark. Then you're going to try to do it again. You're going to miss the mark. And then you have that mom guilt. Because you're like, things aren't perfect, or you're frustrated, or you're irritated, or you're exhausted, or you're burnt out because you're trying to be perfect and you're on that hamster wheel and you're like, why does this keep happening? That's why, because you have unrealistic expectations that you need to let go of. And that is a big part of what you need to do to choose peace over perfection this holiday season. Well, if you haven't already, subscribe, leave a review if this blessed you, and share with the mama you love. Until next time, take care. God bless. Thanks so much for joining me for the Mom Self-Care Podcast. I hope you feel inspired to make yourself a priority too. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Share this podcast with another mama you love and leave a review. Also, feel free to let me know what you would like to hear about in future episodes by visiting me on Instagram at CICInspireMe. Until next time, take some time to take care of YOU because you matter too.